So no, it's not 3 or 7. But yes, we have... Oh, wait. Unless you mean which game is this in terms of the best of series, in which case it's game 3. This is the third game that I'm going over, if that is what you meant to call them. But yes, as you can see, it's between Hanayoki and Yamashita Keigo, two Japanese players again. Have a fairly normal opening. Have an opening that I was expecting yesterday, you might recall, when Black opened this way in one of the games. I expected, alright, we're probably going to see a Chinese variation. And lo and behold, in this one we are, and I will show you that in a minute. I'm just cleaning my mouse real fast, because it's got some bad response. Alright, that's better. So yes, we do have options. We can play Kobayashi, we can enclose, we can take... Oops, probably that one. We can... or that one, I guess. Or here. We can take Chinese variations, do something completely different. Many options here. Black plays what we've come to expect from Modern and go low Chinese. Again, White has options too. We can say, forget your low Chinese, I will approach it head on and see what you do. Bad idea. Don't recommend doing that. It's exactly what your opponent wants. Why does your opponent want that? Quick lesson on the Chinese. This little pincered stone is important. If you jump into a pincer and pass, generally speaking, your opponent's going to have a better situation than you are. This is essentially what you are doing. You are jumping into a pincer on your opponent's turn. He's going to keep attacking you. Should be pretty self-explanatory. So instead we do a few other things. We try to get sneaky. We look at the framework and say, okay, he wants to expand along the bottom, I'm going to take the extension away from him. Or maybe I'm not going to extend because that can still get cut off. So maybe I'll just enclose and make it harder for him to extend. Or maybe we'll think, well, we still want to really approach a 3-4 stone, but we don't want to approach it in the traditional manner in which we're going to be pincered, so maybe we'll play something else. Maybe we'll approach from the outside, force an enclosure, and back off. Try to build up that way. Either of these ideas are completely fine. White goes with A. Just take away the extension. Pretty easy enough. Again, many different options here. We can simply say, alright, took our extension away, going to enclose, can't do anything else there. We could say, okay, if we can't extend along the bottom, we're going to extend along the top and try and get something going there. That's also possible. Black decides to do something different. He says, you know what, I wanted an extension and this K4 stone's not going to stop me from getting it. So I'm going to still extend and see if I can't force you to defend yourself. Because this stone, now that Black has one so very, very close, hello, now that Black has one so very, very close, has to be careful. If Black gets a group here, then you can see that it's going to be cut off. That could be good for Black as well. So a bit more of an aggressive style than, let's say, if we had simply gone ahead and said, okay, nothing else we can do with our framework, just going to enclose. This is a bit more passive. But naturally, we know this. We know this is White. We know that our stone can be cut off if Black comes in. There could be a fight there. Maybe we should protect it. Who knows? White says, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to keep expanding and approach your framework. Make sure you can't expand anywhere. Black says, fine, I'll take territory because I want Sente. I'm not going to pincer you. I'm not going to get into anything weird. And the reason why that is because he has something to go after. He can split this off and get an attack going. So there's no reason to start reading out pincers, high or low. don't really know who's going to be getting Sente from all of that. You can just back off, play nice and solid, get your Sente, go back and attack the stone that you have your eye on. Pretty solid play. So obviously black comes in, which white should expect. The minute white did not defend k4, he knew he was going to have an attack on his stone. But how do you handle it? What do you think? How do we handle this? Our stone's under attack. Do we just jump out? What do? Do we just jump out? Do we just defend our corner and think about it later? Do we attach? Do we kick? Do we play elsewhere again? What do you guys think? How do you handle this situation as white? What you got kicking around in your head? Alright, Kaylin says, it's our stone's in trouble. It's good to know our stone's in trouble. Let's get it out of trouble as fast as possible. Alright, it's a good start, it's a good start. C, attach. Attaching can be tricky, because whenever you attach, you do make your opponent stronger. We've got USF and Rafa picking D. D is a bit more common. Why are you picking D? How do you know to pick D? Why are you all Centum, sorry, also picking D? How are we picking D? Ideal extension is blocked due to K4. Very, very common situation. It's the same situation, let's say you were playing a handicap against a stronger opponent. This isn't really handicap, but whatever. And your opponent, for some reason, jumps on in here to try to make things complicated. It's the same situation. They cannot extend very far here, so you would want to kick them, make them struggle to make a base here. One space extension not going to be adequate for making 2 eyes, so you can just keep harassing them over and over and over again. Dupe. How to handle R10 low attach. Oh, and the other situation, I might go over that later. That has no bearing on the game at hand. If you're writing about that later, I might go over it. If you meant in that Sanrense variation. But alright. So all of you guys are voting for D. And D is a really, really obvious option. It's one that I would probably be tempted to pick as well. It's one that many of us would probably choose without even thinking about it. White, on the other hand, chooses not to kick that. Oh, sorry, you liked A. What was A? Ah, you liked... Alright, so we have a couple of people saying go ahead and just get the weak stone stronger. You could do this. You would probably expect a change of direction if you were playing this way. And now you have to decide as white how you're going to respond. Because something like this seems like it might be a little bit over-concentrated. So not liking that too much. If he changes direction, I guess you're going to attach here as well and try and make this area large. Would I guess be the goal here. Still have to be careful, because later on black still has, you know, more options to make your life a little bit more difficult. Make sure this area doesn't really grow all that much. Let's see, back, here we go. Right, so white simply jumps, allowing black to further attack K4 stone. Oh, sorry, see chat? Is H3 a terrible idea? Okay, that's one that I probably should pay attention to, yes. If you do pincer from your pincer, right away that's a very odd sentence to say in and of itself, that you're going to pincer black from your pincering stone, as if the K4 pincer is not a good enough pincer in and of itself. But if we continue a simple variation here, we can also see that you're over-concentrating yourself as well. You would not, if this stone was not there, for example, want to extend at K4 after this Joseki. You would want this stone somewhere, I don't know, clear across the board, or seeing if you can't profit by playing high and light off the approach. Wouldn't white now be very, very strong to invade? You are strong, but again, you're over-concentrating your lower left-hand corner. It's not really doing much for you. Not only is it not doing very much for you, but F3, keep in mind, is not dead yet. It still has Aji. It might even come back to life. In which case, we're over-concentrated and we're getting no territory. So, the Q5 point that you made, USF, is the only silver lining there. And I guess if you fell into that in your game, it would be nice to see that. But I'd rather not get into this position in the first place. I do not like it. Well, you could block the other way. That is true. Another good question. But let's say we simply play Calm. Well, I should really avoid that since there is someone in this chat whose name is Calm. Let's say we play Simply. Simple Joseki everyone knows. If we wanted to play this way, ideally we would want a point at A. Otherwise, Sente for black going to ensure that not only are we going to not be able to use our wall very effectively, but we're still over-concentrated from this whole shape here. So we're still not very happy people. So yes, white plays here rather than pincering. This and this are both very good options to play here. And as we actually see in the game, it kind of lends into the same variation. Because white immediately goes back and kicks, forcing black to defend himself. And then white gets to run away, putting black behind enemy lines. Obviously, since we are behind enemy lines here as black, we are not going to Tanuki. Some players are very, very tempted to. Their life and death begins to get them into trouble the stronger you get among Q ranks. You start to read things like, oh, I can probably connect under, I can probably escape, so I'm going to do something else. Which I'll highlight in a minute. And, you know, not jump out. They'll say, I'm just going to play here instead. And then realize that, you know, your opponent can force something like that, and then build up a huge moyo. Black says, I do not want to be surrounded. Your stones are weak. I'm going to keep them separated. As long as you have weak stones running along the board, I can profit from this. I know that very, very well. Connecting under is just way too slow to attempt. White asks very, very politely if he can get Samaji working with those dual large knights. Black fixes himself by leaning against the group that he has no interest in attacking, the corner which is already strong. White defends. And now it's a this is a bit difficult to see here, because we're just barely outside the whole enemy line thing. We have some shape. We've got some options for shape in the center. We have not quite by enemy lines, so you can still escape into the center. I can't really see a way for white to surround us with one move. Getting some shape here. So our group isn't quite immortal, but it's a lot more stable than it was with just the 3 stones. So black decides can put some more pressure on white's group as well as build the right hand side at the same time. Because keep in mind, the minute this fight began, we knew that as black, we were not going to kill these 2 stones. So what you have to ask yourself in your game is, what are you fighting for? Where is your profit going to be? How are you going to actually make points from this weak group? And that's what we're seeing here. He made himself as strong as he needed to be, and now he's trying to keep pressure and profit at the same time. Because we know we can't profit by killing the stones. That's not going to happen. We know we can't profit on the left because white stones are already there. So the only places we can really profit from on the right side, where lo and behold, we have a framework. White jumps. Now clearly we can kind of be put behind enemy lines. We can clearly make that line in our heads. So time to ensure we're not going to be put there. So black jumps. White also trying to profit. He sees the left-hand side as something that he can get for himself. So he's going to keep trying to make some 4th line territory here. This is an interesting move. That's so Haidan? How so? Out of curiosity. What do you see this move doing? Yeah, it lends some strength. It takes away an obvious point that white could potentially use to make some ice shape with. Has some nice follow-ups to further develop the right-hand side. We're probably not going to cut the 1-point jump, which I'll show you in a second as to why. Let's say we play elsewhere. This right now is only hurting one person, and that's black. Black is not becoming a very happy person with all these moves. So white tries to surround. Black says, nope, can't do that. White says, yes, I can. Black says, no, you can't. I assure you I can. So black turns and realizes that, yes, we actually cannot do that, can we? But that's okay, because white can profit. As we see here, there's still development to be had. So white ladders, attempting to build up the right-hand side, not right-hand side, the top of the board. And here's something interesting. Rather than threatening to, or going ahead and double Atari at A here, where I'm sure everyone's eye is right now, he takes a minute to probe the corner first, to see if there's any Aji there. White ignores and takes, because if black doesn't take advantage of the weaknesses here, he can connect on up, and now that is really turning into a very, very large topside. So black says, no, 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 not doing that. There's my profit from all of this. White goes back and answers, because his corner's now surrounded. Don't want, had to be careful there. Black extends. Make sure the 3/3 can never connect up. Another interesting move for black. He's looking at cut points, he's looking at connections, he sees all of this Aji, and he's wondering if he can do anything here. White responds nice and strong, can't really see a nice clean way of cutting it right now, so black takes a large point. It seems that, let's see, I think we were going over one of Yamashita Keiko's games yesterday as well, weren't we? Am I misremembering that? In which he was taking a lot of, no? We weren't? Who was that yesterday, Colin? I completely forgot. That was Yoda. Either way, another strong Japanese player. And in that one, we were seeing a lot of large Gote points. And here we're seeing quite the same thing. As soon as he's as strong as he needs to be, he's going back and playing a large move just for development. Though this one, granted, isn't just for development. This is also making sure that this isn't going to suddenly expand on us in a very large way. So it's a large point for both players. Can D10 run out? D10, D10, D10. What is D10? D10 is that. I think we see that later on. I can't remember. Do I see that later on? Yes, we do see that later on. We do see that later on. We will see that later, so I won't go over that now. Until then, you can keep reading and decide that. But clearly the right side is coming a lot larger than the top can ever hope to be. So it's probably time to start trying to reduce this, which admittedly is not something that a lot of us would want to try to reduce. I mean, that is an enormous area. We're probably looking at that, and we are envisioning many, many different ways on how we can die. So what do? First thing we do is look for forcing moves. Is there anything that we can get for free there to use as Aji in order to try to reduce? So white says, well, I can threaten to connect up under. That's pretty forcing. If white simply block, or if black, if black simply blocks, I can maybe attach to Q4, get some light shape there to work with. Nice beginning of a reduction. Black says, no, I'm going to attach to you, make it hard for you to live, and you are definitely not further invading this area. So, white tries a very deep invasion. Not an invasion I would ever attempt, I don't think. I would see this right now as me just insulting a student, testing their reading abilities, not something that I would be comfortable with. But we have to do something. This area is way too large to just let it all go. R5 is an interesting idea. Keep him out of the corner. Nice first thought there. I would probably be more inclined to do R4 instead of R5 though. Make sure that there's nothing really good to attach to if I was going to play such a move. Q8, interesting. Q8 will probably force into the corner. Black strengthens his stone. Ensuring that if we do play elsewhere, then we have nothing weird going on here. White can't attach, for example, and try and cross-cut to make something work here. Or try and force us back and sacrifice that group. Our stone's nice and strong. White's going to do nothing there. So white tries to make some shape. Black says, stay out of my corner, you're not going there either. So white extends. So immediately we have, yeah, it's a wall with extension. Immediately we have a few things going for us here as white. We can IA. That's a weird sentence. We can look at A, I should say. Because with A, we can get I's either at 1 or 2. So this is interesting. And we have a potential one at 3. But A is Gote on the other one. Yes, as Calm is pointing out. A is Gote. That is true. Black keeps in. White takes the Gote point. Because again, he's threatening 3 different eyes. He's threatening one here, here, and here. How is Black going to respond to this? Black takes 1 away. So White grabs 2. And this is getting very interesting. Because keep in mind, this stone is not dead yet. And this is connected by a small knight. White responds nice and strong. So Black responds nice and strong, so White threatens to completely surround the corner. Now if you're able to kill the corner, that would be a really, really great way of living. That would make your opponent feel just absolutely terrible. Can Black answer P5 to White Q7? P5... P5 not on board. Oh, okay, so to that. So back here. Okay. This? Alright, I see what you're trying to do. You're looking at this, and you're looking at the ability to try to poke here, I guess, and ruin that eye, while also maintaining that this can't be played. I see what you're trying to do there. I see what you're trying to do. Looks like an interesting move, that's for sure. Yeah, you've got me curious about it as well. Doot, doot. Doot. Doot, doot, doot. That's a problem. Oops, not that. It looks like this is getting complicated, because you have to kill off the other eye. And since White's not completely surrounded, it also appears as if we're going to have extra Aji to get out. So we're not surrounded. We've got one eye in Gote, and we're kind of escaping. I don't think I like this idea. This is very risky. At this rate, you're going to lose everything if you don't kill this. This is kind of like an all or nothing play. What Black does instead is try to keep White local. See if he can make eyes locally. He's also making sure that... mouse, stop that. He's also making sure that he still has profit. He can expand off here pretty simply. Even if White does live. Alright, so where were we in the game? We were here, right. So black cuts. White gets a free Atari. And then a connect. Or then an eye, rather. So now we have ensured that that other eye is not going to be taken out. Can't go ahead and poke it. And white managed to live in Gote, which means black has Sente. So he plays a nice large point. White's definitely going to have to respond to this. He does so in a very, not a very greedy fashion, but one that does leave a lot of Aji behind. He really wants to build up and keep black surrounded. It does mean there is an enormous amount of Aji in the corner. That 3-3, for example, has to be a little bit careful of. Definitely can't kill such an invasion anymore. What makes D14 so big if D12 is already alive? Where's D12? Black. Okay, because black can come in from here, black now has multiple points of entry into what white might be thinking about trying to build. If white is, let's say we don't play that and let's play something else, I don't know. Let's say, for example, that that wasn't Gote. Let's say white actually had the ability to seal this off. Well, now we have to be kind of careful on how deep we go when we're trying to reduce this. Because if we go in too deep, then our opponent can obviously cut us off because we're behind enemy lines. But if that stone was not there, we have a way to connect up both ways, or multiple ways. We can connect outside, and if he cuts that off, we can potentially connect right to D14, which is also nice. Also, we have to keep in mind that this group isn't immortal yet. I mean, we're connected with small knights here, and this eye can be turned false. But white connects. That is not played at all. Here we are. White connects. Black plays a very large point. Says, you know what? You can have a little bit of something there if you want to play K15. That's fine. I'm going to take the right side. Nice and simple. White says, I'm going to be needing territory then, because that whole getting framework idea is not really working out too well. Bit of a painful move. We don't want to respond to this because we're going to have to do it again and again. We do not want to play as white F13 here, because it just essentially invites black to playing, what is it, G14? Pushing up again, threatening to cut through, having to respond to that as well. Further jumping into the top area to make sure that we don't get much territory there. So white says, forget that, not responding to you, I will threaten to reduce and or surround you. If you respond to this, I'm cutting off your way of escape, I can surround that, make some territory there. Black says, nice try, I know what you're doing, I'm going to make myself stronger. White tries to defend. Black aggressively tries to come in, forcing white back, and then connects up. Unfortunately, he's connecting up in Gote, so white gets to push in. So both players got a little bit of something there. Not too much, but a little. White follows up, or black follows up, sorry. Cut point is left behind, but that Hane is huge. Cannot allow black to get in G18. So white responds. And at this point, even though I already clicked what he's actually playing here, because I wasn't thinking, Black has Sente. And with Sente, he can go back and start to strengthen that which he was ignoring, which was the damage that L10 is receiving. He can start to think about how to salvage rather, his framework. I'd probably play R18 though. Another Gote move. White will probably further come in. Does it really? Because the group looks fine since it still can connect. Can connect underneath if it has to. Plus it can still jump out. I'm thinking of M11. Yeah, I'm making it stronger first. White responds. Then we Hane. That way, if white Hanes, there's that happy little cut point. White probes. And then tries to run out. Essentially going back to the question that we received a little bit earlier, which is, can D10 go anywhere? Board's changed a little bit in that time, but the answer is still essentially the same. If black comes down, we can't Hane, because that just doesn't work. Ladder there just fails. So we're going to try and connect this way. Black Atari forces white to connect. Protects his stone. Also connecting up with B6 at the same time, very nice. And now the question is, can we actually do anything here? Can we get our stones to safety? Might be able to. I guess we can try something like here. Not going to work. Let's go over a few of these. If we play this, then we're either connecting or we're getting killed, which is not fun. Definitely don't want to do that. We can play here, but obviously that's not connecting in. We can do this instead. USF asking me to wait a minute. Did you have a question there, USF? Ah, okay. So can't really save those stones, unfortunately. C13... We could try C13, I suppose. That might just connect. Yep. That does seem to work. Unfortunately, though, there is one minor issue with this. In the center, we don't really have any eyes at the moment. I mean, even the one that we could have made in Gote at F11 is gone now. And black now has Sente to counterattack. So this would be slightly uncomfortable for us. Which is why we see white pushing through instead. Trying to connect up and or isolate these. If this group is weak, then it's not going to counterattack us, therefore we're not going to die. If we just connect up here, then we're simply going to see, yeah, not dying is very good, yes. Then we're simply going to see black start counterattacking our shape here. And then we're going to be in a little bit of a problem. So he sacrifices that. And then makes himself stronger. Because the left is disconnected. Those black stones. So all we have to do now is make ourselves stronger so we can attack them. Black cuts. White Atari. Gets what he wants. Manages to separate those stones. Now it looks like black's in a little bit of trouble here. If we connect, we're losing everything, clearly. That is not giving us any shape whatsoever. There's no point in playing it. So black tries to connect the other stones up. White takes his profit. Ensures not going to die. And makes himself nice and strong. Now the top group, I forgot who said it earlier, is looking to be a bit of a problem. That 017 group. Indeed. So white jumps up, trying to reduce. I can only assume this was a very calculated move. He realized that if he simply tries to live here with anything else, it's not enough to actually win the game. That he still needs to reduce. Otherwise, this is just insanely silly. Because this is not giving us shape, which black immediately points out. Makes him heavy. Kills off L17 very easily, thus ensuring that white can't live locally. So he has no choice but to escape. Again, black strengthens himself. Takes the... why not play L16 before? For who? Who's playing L16 and why? Well, like I said, well, it's not just L16 that we can play, because if we just play L16, those stones are still dead with, like, one move. So we would be playing L16, and then we would be trying to live here, essentially. And like I mentioned, I can only assume that he counted how much territory black's still going to get on the right-hand side, and he realized if he doesn't reduce that, he's still going to lose the game, despite the stones he captured at E14. So he went down the much riskier road of trying to reduce and finding that coveted second eye. So, still looking for a second eye. This game was played, according to this, in May of this year. May 24th. Looks flat out impossible to live. Because clearly, you know, we're going to poke that, make sure this never turns into any kind of eye. So now we've got a long group of stones, a bamboo joint. Not getting not getting an eye there. I like this move a lot. Limits the Aji for white. tries to force black to do something a little bit silly and worry about his liberties. But black simply connects. He doesn't get into anything that would hurt him. Doesn't have to worry about, you know, going back and capturing these stones or anything along those lines. He simply connects up nice and solid. White can't do anything. If we turn, we're still dead. Black's alive in the corner. So he tries to use Samaji here. Now we've got something here. Now we've got something real. It looks like we might get ourselves into a bit of a tough situation. Maybe we can get a Ko out of this. Black connects. Bit of a interesting move, I think. Clearly a very valuable threat. This cut point is not our friend anymore. It's trying to kill us. So we have no choice but to connect. If there is a Ko to be had, this also gives a lot of Ko threats. But black throws in. White turns. Black disconnects clearly, otherwise he's dead in the corner. No cutting. Black simply connects nice and solidly. There is a little bit of Aji there, though. So white threatens the Ko. Black says, no, I'm not going to take that one. That's large. So white tries for this one. And goes to Ko. Nice Ko threat. White ignores because he knows he has to win this. Very hard for white to win. Black starts another Ko. And now it's up to whoever has the most Ko threats. Because this is enormous. The entire right side of the board is up for grabs, essentially. If white lives, then this is huge. All of that area that black painstakingly built up would just come to nothing. And if black wins this, then yeah, congratulations for building all of that, because that's a lot of death. So black plays his Ko threat. And white immediately resigns because there are way too many threats there. And they're all huge. Well, if white ignores it, and black follows up, it's not just the corner that's in trouble, right? It's not only the corner, it's also having to go back and connect here. So it's all of these stones right now, which are in jeopardy. And you have to choose which ones are going to live and die. Not only that, you have to figure how are you going to live with these stones, as Babusa just pointed out. I mean, essentially, it's all of this. That's too large. We cannot be having that. So yeah, white resigns. bit more of an aggressive game than yeah, in essence, e16 is an okay threat. It's one you probably don't want to ignore. But another nice game that I thought. Not sure if I would have picked it. Not too sure about that, but still a good one to go over. So thank you for sending that in. Let's see, what time is it? It's 8:49. Not going to be going over another one. I do have one to go over, though. One that I probably would have picked. A Ghoulie versus Lee Sedol game. I'll be doing that either tomorrow or Friday. Probably Friday, I think. But as soon as I know, I will adjust the room message. No, I think Isidol is. I have to say Isidol is my favorite player. Well, yeah, Ghoulie is pretty pro. Lee Sedol is pretty pro as well. And he gets into a lot of nice games that things die in. Even if it's his own groups, I don't care. It's just things die, so that makes me happy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going over the next game. Yeah, pros dying are always... well, that sounds bad. I'm not going to repeat that. I mean, on the board. Oh no, that's bad too. I don't want them dying on the board. Their groups dying. That's good. That's good, yes. But yes. I'll be doing that probably either Thursday or Friday, so you can look out for that. I hope you enjoyed the game so far, and I will see you next time.